Good evening, boys and girls. Welcome to another live edition of the Highbury Squad. It is the return of one of our most popular series. It's been a while since we've done it, but we are back with two phenomenal Gooners who have some great stories to share. And who are these two young fellas right here? Crikey, look at that. Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad. Good evening, boys and girls. Indeed, welcome to another live edition of the Highbury Squad. It's a fine Tuesday, no matter where in the world you may be. We hope you are safe, sound and healthy. Joining me once again on location today, my podcast brother from another mother, Mr. Super Kevin Campbell.
Squaddies, hope you're well, and we have a fantastic one lined up today. I'm really looking forward to this one. Sort yourself out,
Rich, mute yourself if you need if you need to move or move your.
Let's get this show on the I just realised my power is going. There's trouble in the house already, Squaddies. Look at this. At ease, everyone.
Oh my God, it's the rumble in the jungle already, Kev. If you need to adjust your set, Rich, just mute yourself. Welcome to the show, two of our original Squaddies. We've been waiting for this one, as Kev said. These are two fantastic listeners, Arsenal fans, men, Gooners, call them what you want. Welcome to the show, Universal Greek and Rich. You will know them as in chat. Welcome, guys.
Good to see you, chaps. Good to see you. Nice to meet you face to face.
Great to see everyone. Hope everyone is safe and well.
Listen, thanks for having me, Sophie, KC, Costa.
You're welcome.
Listen, I've got to run. I've got to get my my battery's going to run out, so I just got to get the extension. All right, I'll be back in a minute.
You duck out and come back in. There you go.
All right.
Mute yourself. We don't need to see your seat. There you go. Fine. This is what I love. Okay, it's like the family. Hey, you know, when teaching dad how to use like technology, absolutely brilliant. Good evening to all the usual suspects in the house. Welcome, Mark. Welcome, Matty K. Hello, Soph. Newman, I'm not sure if you did ban Rich, but it might be time to do that, no doubt. Tammy, welcome. Alistair, welcome. Taib, welcome. Hello, everyone, basically, to Archangel, our online bodyguard. Welcome to you too. It's going to be a good one. You know what? We're taking a little bit of a departure. Kev and I love doing these kinds of shows where we take a trip down memory lane. We connect with phenomenal Gooners from all corners of the earth. We're going to start with Gosta, aka Universal Greek. Gostamo, tell everyone where you were born and how you fell in love with the Arsenal.
Thank you, Sophie, and thank you, Kev, for having me on your show. I was born in Crouch End. Okay, so Crouch End is 1.5 miles, maybe 2 miles from Highbury Stadium. And I was born into a Greek Cypriot family of mental Gooners. I had no choice, absolutely no choice. A bit like my son now. We'll go into this later on. My son had no choice either. And so that was born in 1966 in Crouch End. And then when I was 5, I wanted to go to Highbury Stadium to watch a match for my birthday. But I wasn't allowed, because it was too cold and I had school the next day, which sort of really annoyed me. But I finally got to go to my first game on I think it was the 27th of April, 1971. And I saw Charlie George score the only goal in a win against Newcastle. And ever since that day, I've been absolutely besotted and obsessed by the club. We'll touch on more things later on about what it means to me. But it's Sophie knows this. As a Greek, it's a big part of your life. Football is a big part of your life. You know, you have family, you have food, and you have football. That's it. In those days, that was it. That's all you had. You know, Monday to Friday was work, Saturday was football, Sunday was family. That's what it was.
Wow.
And I'm so happy that we live so close to Highbury Stadium. Right now, I live in Palmer's Green, and on a clear night, when it's very quiet, you can hear it when the other lot score. I'm a mile away from White Hart Lane, and when it's quiet and I'm in the garden, I can hear the roar go up. So that's horrible, absolutely horrible. And you can hear that in the garden. I don't know if Rich can hear that from where he is, because I know he's in Palmer's Green as well. But that's a scary sound. More to the point, they all take our parking spaces outside the house as well, so we can't park our cars. They all park outside the house and walk to the stadium. So
Clapham University.
It is. It is. I should actually get my yellow and red cards out from my.
You should, and you know better than a Greek. My mum and dad, they used to put like a skip in front of the driveway or whatever. Yeah. That's lovely, Costa. Thanks for sharing. Rich, over to now. Rich, you're almost on a yellow card from the squaddies. You know how this goes. Next time you need to move, I'm removing you and I'll bring you back in. Right, you survived it. You only get a warning, a referee's warning. Tell everyone where you were born and where in the world you're living in now, and how you fell in love with the Arsenal.
I'm originally from the Palmer's Green end of Wood Green, not far from where you are, Sophie. Just a few streets up from you, as you know, at Sylvan Avenue. Just like Costa was saying about growing up, you know, from my street, I can see the floodlights at Tottenham. The same thing I could hear as a kid whenever they scored. Like you could hear it. You could just hear, you know, it's just one of those things. You grew up in the streets playing football and you could hear, you know, what's going on down at the lane. But anyway, your first love is football. You know, it's football. It wasn't really teams then. It was just football. My first ever game, actually, I went to Tottenham versus Polish Select 11. Actually, I come from a Polish background. I'm pure Polish. That was in 1966, November 1966. That was,
I have this, you sent me.
9 years old, something like that. Yeah, that's the program.
But you didn't go because you like Spurs. You went because of your Polish descent and your heritage.
Yeah. My parents said, "Come on, we're going. You know, I'm going to take you to the game." Like, and we just went and you know, of course, you're a little kid. You're just so excited about just being in the ground, you know, and seeing those Jimmy Greaves, Cliff Jones, you know, my favourite Polish player Lubanski. Yeah, it's just a memory. You know, it's just a memory of that. You know, of that first game, and then you know, just growing up as you're getting a little bit older, we used to go, same as you, Kevin, like when you were a kid, used to go at half time or 20 minutes before the end. They used to open the gates. It was easier for me to go to Tottenham than to Arsenal because it didn't cost anything. We could just run down, you know, take you 25 minutes to run down from my house to Tottenham. So as little kids, we used to just go at half time or 20 minutes to go, like, and just watch whatever you could watch, like, you know what I mean? Run around all around the ground and all that, you know, not crazy kids. But it was my first game at Highbury. One of my older brothers, he was all Arsenal, right from the off. Arsenal, so all I knew about him was Arsenal. He took me to first game, I think it was, I know it was Nottingham Forest, 1969, 1970. August. We won 2-1. George Graham scored and Bob McNabb. You know, I got a distant memory of it. It's just, It was just what it was. Is, you know, you go through the turnstiles, you walk up those steps, those concrete steps into the North Bank, and I just remember with my brother, and it was packed. You know, it was packed then. It was packed.
You got to the top.
The noise. I could not believe the noise. Like coming out of the North Bank, like, and I just looked at my brother and just said, "So this is what it's all about." And that day, I fell in love with the Arsenal.
Nice one.
And I never went back again ever, other than when we played them. It was those Boxing Day games. We used to play them on Boxing Day. That was about the only time I ever went there.
Boxing Day and New Year's Day, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Great,
So that was
Kev.
it. I mean,
I know Kev loves hearing. Go on, Rich.
You know,
Yeah.
I didn't go to that many games, like, you know, because being Polish, we used to go to Polish school on Saturdays, like, and
We used
the
to
school
go to
was
Greek school.
yeah, because you used to go just down the road up at White Lane School, at Earlham School, and then it went to, I think, St Thomas More School. I think you were all in there because my friends.
Well,
my friends are Greek.
there was Whiteman Road. There was Tottenhall School, which was a pretty big, and then there was the Banaia, which was the Greek church in Wood Green, where we used to go to Greek school. You either went on Saturday for like 5 hours, or you'd go 2 nights a week. It was, you know, it was torture, and no one chose Saturday who loved football. Put it that way.
We couldn't help it. We had to go to Polish school, and it happened to be on Saturdays. But the school was in Islington, by the Angel, not far from the Angel. So every when we finished school, we obviously caught the tube back to Wood Green, and you know, obviously you're going through the Arsenal, so it was packed always with, you know, it's that Arsenal in your head all the time.
Yeah, Kev loves hearing these stories because now we have him on the show. We watched him, of course, at Highbury a long time. Kev, before we switch to the guys, because I'd love to know, you know, of their more of their experiences at Highbury. And it's so true when Rich and Gosta like talk about that first time you see the carpet, the original carpet, when you go up, and every time felt like the first time. It was incredible, but the noise was insane. It must be amazing for you too, to kind of like be listening to fans who used to watch while you were playing.
Well, even before I'm playing, I'm just, as you can see me, I'm just smiling, just listening to the stories, because I know it, I feel it. And, you know, when you go as a kid for your first time and you do see the pitch, it really is magical. It really is. And it's interesting what Rich and Costa says about, you know, when you go there, they can hear White Hart Lane from where they were. Rich even went to White Hart Lane for games, etc. But as soon as he went to the Arsenal, that was it. That's it. Fall in love with Arsenal. That's the one. And it is such a special club. And, you know, listen, from where we are now to where we've been, you know, it's guys like Costa and Rich, who they were going before I was going. So, you know, these are the guys who laid the road, laid the pathway. So I love it.
Definitely. I have to put this comment up from Rocky. I remember my brother saying Kev was crap. I punched him and got no pocket money for a month. I love that, Kev.
I hope you give him a dig back.
Oh, so awesome. And then we have young fans, new fans like Soph, who's, you know, a really super young fan. And this show's so amazing, Soph and Kev. Thanks for doing this. I love to learn so much about our amazing club, and it's great hearing from Arsenal fans. And there's quite a few 60s and 70s fans in the chat tonight as well, you guys, which is amazing. Lone Star's first game was 82. It cost £3.50. Nicholas says it's great to see Universal Greek and Rich's faces. Magic Mike in the house also said the same about seeing the squaddies on camera as well. Gosta, I'm going to swing it back to you then. So you're introduced, you know, like you said, Greek, it's football, family, food. Those are the 3 Fs. Talk me through a little bit more about now you become an Arsenal fan. Are you a season ticket holder at Highbury? What's the trajectory for you after the introduction?
Yeah, so from the age of, like I said, 5 till the age of my early teens, it was 7 or 8 of us, family members. My dad, God rest his soul, my uncles, my mum's brothers, we would all go as a group. So I don't know, if we played 25, 30 home games a season, I will go to maybe 20 of them. I was very, you know, I remember David O'Leary's debut. I remember seeing Liam Brady for the first time. And, you know, I still can't believe I missed your Bob Wilson chat. I was away that night. I would go to Highbury with my dad and, like I said, with my family, and we'll be attacking. and I'll be looking at Bob Wilson because I was so taken aback by him. He was my favourite player, still is my favourite ever Arsenal player. I think Kev said it during the follow-up squad that we had after the Bob one, that we were all sold on his bravery. I'd never seen a goalkeeper dive in head first to get the ball. When in the days when you can give him a kick as well, and the referee would just say nothing to you. So for maybe 10 years, I would go with my family, and the minute I hit 16, that was it. I was allowed to go by myself. So for a couple of years, I was going with friends and standing in the North Bank. If you're looking down at the picture on the North Bank, on the left-hand side. And then at 18, I got my first season ticket. I sort of saved up enough money. And from 18, which was in 1984, until the mid-1990s, I don't know which year it was, I was a season ticket holder. And we went as a group, I would say there were 8 or 10 of us, home and away, everywhere. Absolutely everywhere. It was just magnificent in the days where you can turn up at Old Trafford, pay you £3 and get in. None of this ticket malarkey from a month before. None of this, let's plan it. Sometimes it will be on a Friday night. Let's go to Norwich. We're playing tomorrow away at Norwich. And we jump in the car and go. And sometimes we didn't make it. Sometimes the crappy cars that we had would break down on the motorway. We didn't make it. One particular occasion, after we won the Premier League in 88-89, the very next season, the first game was at Old Trafford. And I think it was the game where Michael Knighton came on the pitch, who was going to buy Man United at the time. And
oh, wow, yeah.
That sort of stuff. And they just bought Neil Webb, and they were going to...
And was juggling in the end,
Yeah, it was. And so I was in Cyprus the week before, and I was due to come back on the Friday, and the Saturday we played the game. And my friends in Cyprus said, look, let's go. We're playing you're back the next day, let's go. And I said, look, I'm not going to come back on Friday and drive to Manchester on Saturday. I will switch my car on for 3 weeks. It's not good. Anyway, I came back to London on the Friday. We drove up on the Saturday, and I broke down on the North Circular Road about 2 miles from the house. We've still got 200 miles to go. We phoned the AA, and I said, hold on a minute. I've got this thing where you've got to take me to my location, my destination. And he wouldn't do it. He goes, I'm not taking you 200 miles when you've only gone 2. So we had to drive back, and my dad took us. My dad took us to Manchester. And we missed the first 20 minutes. And we got in the stadium, and it was 1-1. And we lost 4-1. And it was bloody awful. But things like that, as awful as they were at the time, looking back on it, was a great laugh and great camaraderie. And on the way back in some service station, we met Lofty from EastEnders, and he was just as peed off as we were.
He's a good lad, Tom. Massive good.
He is.
Yeah.
We're not on here long enough for me to go on about the millions of stories that we have.
No, but these are the best stories. These are the best, aren't they? Because what you're saying, and I think this is what we try, this is why we love doing these shows, is because I know things aren't great right now, and they haven't been great, but when you age does give you perspective, and at some point you'll look back, and even some of the worst defeats, you'll have some of the best stories and memories. Going up to Liverpool, going to Manchester, going to Europe, and it's right.
There was a big bond with the team. I remember absolutely a cousin of mine phoning me up and saying, we're in the League Cup, whatever the League Cup was called in those days, and it's away to Shrewsbury, and Tony Adams is making his comeback from prison. Let's go and support him. And I was saying, look, I'm working. I finished work at 4. There's no way we're getting to Shrewsbury. We drove to Shrewsbury. I think we won 2-0, and Michael Thomas scored a brilliant chip or something. But because Tony Adams was making his comeback, we went because we felt an affinity, not with Tony Adams,
players,
but with the team. That we were one of them, and they were one of us. I'm not sure we have that now. I'm not sure we've had it for a long time. Maybe it's going to come back. Maybe Mikel Arteta is going to bring it back. I pray to.
Yeah, well, we'll get into that at the end. We'll get into that a little bit at the end with you guys on the current Arsenal. Rich, were you a season ticket holder at Highbury? If so, where were you sitting? What was your jam as you kind of became a man and you could go to games on your own? And what one crazy story do you want to share with us?
I guess the best story to share is the winning at White Hart Lane, 71 at White Hart Lane, because that's a real, obviously it's a real memory. You know, I remember being at school and I'd already planned it. I'd already forged a note to go to the dentist on that night. Well, in that afternoon, so I left school. I used to go to St Ignatius, which was up on the Great Cambridge Road, up that A10, way up. So I left school about 3 o'clock. I remember leaving school and catching the 243, the bus back down to Palmer's Green. I just remember getting at the Cambridge roundabout. I was thinking, bloody, there's loads of cars. Like, I mean, already, and this was like about 3:30, something like that. Yeah. So many cars around. I'm thinking, oh wow, I need to get to the stadium as quick as possible. Right. So anyway, got the bus from the Cambridge roundabout back to the Green Lanes. Then run home. Grabbed a slice of bread, a little bit of milk. Mum, I'm going to football. Right, so legged it to Tottenham. I must have got there 4:30, maybe around 4:30. It was packed. It was just a throng of people, just everywhere, cars, people, everything. It was mad. It's madness. If I can describe it now, it was mad. I've not seen it since. It was just total people everywhere. So I walked around the ground, like I'm thinking, well, how am I going to get in? Like, you know, it was just queues already queues. So I just jumped on the queue into the Tottenham main stand, and I just queued for hours. And I got in. I just about got in. Like, and I, you know, my friends obviously I spoke to my friends at school afterwards the next day, and they said, like, listen, they never got in. They said there's probably as many outside as there was inside. They said there was thousands and thousands outside. I just remember going in, walking into the shop, and it was packed. I mean, packed. There was, I don't know what the official was. I mean, 50 odd thousand. There must have been 60 odd thousand in there. There had to be, because you could not move. You could not move. I was just stuck. You know, still a little kid. Well, yeah, I was 14 then, like something like that. Just stuck. You know, you just try and wedge your way. You can just about see anything, like, you know what I mean? But it's just at the end, it was. Do you remember the goal? Do you remember scoring and celebrating? Yeah. Did you end up like 50 rows in front? I was up myself. It was basically the ground was just Arsenal everywhere. And it was just mayhem, total mayhem. Getting out of there, walking back home, it was just celebrating. Everybody celebrating. It was madness. And then going to school the next day, giving it all to the Tottenham boys. It was great.
That was the joy that was the joy of North London rivalry. It was, you know, going into school. You know, a lot of the times we had the upper hand, which was kind of fortunate. I mean, yeah, those were great moments. Who are your favourite players? And then, in fact, before I go there, did you guys see a lot of I'm assuming you saw a lot of Kev and that team at Highbury, Gosta? Like,
I'll be first to admit, I know I saw you, Kev, play, but I don't remember the games. You know what I mean? So I hold my hands up, like, you know, I can't, you know. I don't like I'm telling you before. It's all a fuzz. It's you know. I went to.
I'll tell you a game you remember, Rich. Do you want me to tell you a game you remember? In 1991, we were with Nottingham Forest played Liverpool early, and we were playing Man United that night. We just won the title that day. It was an evening kickoff. Manchester United at Highbury. Smudger ended up scoring a hat-trick. We beat them 3-1, but it was all celebrations.
Yeah.
Before the game. We were coming out in wigs and all sorts.
Gosta,
you remember that, right? Wait, go on.
That game, Kev, I couldn't get into the North Bank because it was they shut the the gates
Shut
or
the
whatever.
gates.
So I stood in the clock end. I haven't been in the clock end for yonks and yonks, and me and a few guys had to stand in the clock end. But you're right, it was party atmosphere, and they win 3-1. United
3-1,
got a consolation or something right at the end.
Yeah, Steve Bruce
and
got
that was
penalty late on.
It didn't matter. And I think Smudger got a penalty as well, which he never takes penalties, right? But to give him his hat trick, they gave him a penalty. Yeah, and nothing could touch us that night. It was fantastic. It was absolutely fantastic.
What's your favorite game of all time? I'll stay with you here, Gosta. Like, I want to know your favorite game. And you mentioned Liam Brady, but is he your all-time favorite player? But talk me through, like, back in that day, you know, what your favorite game was. Are you an 89er versus an Invincibles? Bob Wilson. Yeah, I mean, he loves Bob. But talk me through that a little bit. Games, more players, get into that.
Bob Wilson was my favorite player. But can I whisper this? Pat Jennings was a better goalkeeper. Just
that's not a problem.
Sorry,
doesn't matter.
But of that generation, I remember it wasn't a televised game, but I was there. I was very, very young. I don't know what year it was, but it was a league game against Liverpool at home, evening game, sort of midweek evening game. And we beat them with a 90-something minute goal by John Radford, 1-0. And that was a team that had Keegan, Toshak, and everybody else in it. And we stood when Liverpool were beating everyone. And that was, my head was so high the next day on the school playground. It was just a great game. That was a personal favourite. Another one, my personal favourite of yours, Kev, was when actually you won me a lot of money. we were playing QPR away. It might have been in the championship winning season of '89. We were playing QPR away, and we were going to it. And all week I was thinking 3-1, 3-1, 3-1. Of course, we went there. Roy Wiggily cheated us out of a penalty after 10 minutes, and they went 1-0 up, if you remember. Yeah. And I think you got the third. You got the killer third. Yeah, and landed all my bets. Thank you very much, my friend. So that's
good. Love that.
A personal place in my heart. And just a little aside to that, I think the next season, away to Benfica, you scored a fantastic goal. Was it 1-1?
1-1.
And that was
Rocky with a through ball.
We were sitting. We was huddled around the radio because it wasn't on TV or anything like that. And just of this tiny little transistor that we used to have, and the place went bananas when you equalised. Thank you very much for that, mate. You made our evening.
That was a pleasure.
And you know, Brady was the most talented player that I saw of that generation. His combination with Graham Ricks and Frank Stapleton was magnificent. David O'Leary was unequalled in his grace. You know, he could play today, David O'Leary. He seemed to tackle players without any need for physicality at all. He was just fantastic. And had things been different, I think he could have been an Arsenal manager as well. But it is what it is.
Very elegant player. Yeah. Very, you know, had that Italian vibe about him, didn't he, Kev? And you know, sometimes I think too. Sometimes, and I know Arsenal fans love and respect him, but I feel like he's a bit. I think he's a little bit forgotten because he did go on to Leeds. He can't, you know what I mean? Versus some of the other great defenders that have played there, Kev and guys.
So So let me just say this: David O'Leary does not. You're right. He does not get the props he deserves. Do you know, like this team now, we're talking about it needs experience to nurture it and help it through. That's what David O'Leary was for Tony Adams and Rocastle and Mickey Thomas and all that. He was the father figure around to help. He helped me in ways that people would not believe. At the time when I first moved across, I weren't driving, I weren't doing it. He used to come and pick me up. David O'Leary, we used to talk in the car all the time. The guy is an absolute legend. And I know legend seems to be something that is used sparingly. It's too easy. But David O'Leary, not only was he a great player, he was the experienced guy to help help nurture us through. Incredible guy. And what a talent, what a talented man, and an Arsenal man too.
Yeah, and like Stephen says, 700 plus appearances. I mean, you know, overall, I think it was 568 in the league. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe we're getting our numbers wrong. But Michael's saying O'Leary's not forgotten by us Irish Arsenal fans. Sophie, he's a legend, and I think generally he's not. What I'm saying is that he needs to be like up here when we talk about, you know, true legends of the club.
He's a great,
as well.
Great, to be fair.
So I'm going to share some pictures now before we move into our next subject. This is Gosta and his son wearing the old JVC right here. And this is Gosta and the FA Cup. Is that you?
That's my son.
Wait, that's your son. I was going to say, that's not you. Right, okay. And then I want you to talk to us a little bit about this, because I know it's very, very special to you. I'm going to get rid of this comment. Hold on real quick here. So we can see Kenny Sansom as well. Well said, Jamie. And we've got a picture of Kenny Sansom coming up with our other guest. Costa, before we switch to Rich and share some of his picks too, talk to us about this.
So in 1995, my unremarkable Sunday League Hackney Marshes football career came to an end. My knees couldn't do it anymore. And I think essentially my wife was fed up with me coming home with bruises all over the place and that sort of stuff. And I was quite friendly with the same referees that we used to have. And one of them said to me, look, if you don't want to do this anymore, why don't you come and join us? And I thought, you know what? I'd love to do that, because I wanted to give something back. The game had given me so much, and it still does. But I wanted to give something back. So within a few weeks, I applied, did the course, sort of 10, 12-week course, whatever it was. And then I had about 2 years of the tough stuff on Hackney Marshes, on pitch 46, when you're by yourself right at the back of the corner, when all 22 players hate you. All 22 players want to kill you. You haven't got any assistance. There's a dog barking on the side that's dying to get his teeth into. I did that for 2 years and got back-to-back promotions to a level 5 referee, which is a senior county referee.
Well done.
And once I got thank you. Once you get your level 5 and become a senior county referee, the doors open up to you for other worlds. You come away from the marshes and into the sort of more luxurious surroundings. And there's a guy called Vince Udall, who sadly is no longer with us, phoned me up and said, look, you're an Arsenal supporter, right? And I said, yes, I am. I'm a season ticket holder. He said, why don't you come do some Arsenal games for us? And I said, what do you mean? And he said, well, we Alan Sefton. Kev, you know
nice
Alan
guy.
Sefton?
Nice guy, really nice. Alan.
Who's MBE now for his services to football. Yeah.
Brilliant. Well deserved as well.
He called me up and said, look, why don't you meet you and then we can discuss what you can do for us. So I went and saw Alan in the old JVC indoor centre at Highbury. I don't know if you remember that. And he said, look,
behind the clock in.
That's right. We have corporate games. We have pro celebrity games. We have behind the doors matches at London Colney. Why don't you just try a few of these and we'll see how you get on? Actually, I wrote it down because I kept a record that you had to keep a record of every game you referee. So by the time I retired a few years back, I'd refereed 23 times at Highbury, 6 times at London Colney, 14 times at Emirates, and 7 years of community work at the JVC Centre. So I had just a fantastic time, a real fantastic time. And even though I gave it up because I'm too old to do it 10 years ago, I sort of, those things are cherished. I'm very lucky to have loads of other medals for cup finals and stuff like that, but those two are quite unique because there were only 3 given out per year to the referees that did the Charity Shield and stuff like that. And I got to referee some Arsenal players. I got to referee at London Colney. And my favourite story ever, Alan called me and Alan Sefton said, come and do this game on whatever day, midweek game it was, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I said, yeah, can't wait. We turned up and Pat Rice came in and said, look, we've set this up because there's 2 guys from Italy coming over on a 2-week trial, and we just want to see how good they are. So we set up a game against, I think it was Charlton Athletic. Anyway, so can you watch out? He's a big centre forward and the other guy's a winger or something. Just keep your eye on them and let us know what you think afterwards, if they're giving you verbals or if they're just let us know what you think. Anyway, what usually happens is Pat Rice says, on your way, and here's the envelope with the money. It's 50 quid for the referee, 25 quid for assistants before the game. So on this particular occasion, he said, yeah, watch out for their 2 players. Oh, I forgot my money. I forgot the money. I forgot the money. He went away, came back, said, sorry, we haven't got any cash. We'll pay you after the game. So I thought, no problem. We did the game. It was a very unspectacular game. The 2 guys barely got a kick, which is probably why we never heard of them. And then Pat said, right, let me get you your money. He went out. He came back in with £100 coins. He had to open a vending machine because they didn't have notes in the stand. So I came home that day. So I came home that day with my tracksuit with bulging pound coins, and my wife goes to me, have you been going to the pub and playing the fruit machine again? I said, no, I genuinely, I did a game and they didn't have, but things like that stay with you forever. And I was so lucky to see. I refereed Theo Walcott, Martin Keown, and players like that. And you sort of watch them on the telly and you think, oh God, he's useless, he's awful. When you're that close to them, you can see why they've made it to that level. Kev, I can see why, I understand why you made it to that level. The first touch is immaculate. Absolutely immaculate, without question. Every player I've ever refereed, whether Arsenal or from other teams, their first touch is immaculate, and they all play with their head up. And it's so easy to referee guys like Kev because there's a pattern, and you're not going to lump it 80 yards and I'm going to be out of position as a referee. It's a pattern I can anticipate. It's such a privilege, and I met so many great people. And I owe to Vince, who's, like I said, sadly not with us. But like I said, I refereed on the last ever game at Emirates, not Emirates, at Highbury Stadium. I was an assistant referee on the last ever game, and that was a particularly moving experience. And one other thing, Soph, somebody on the chat this week said they scored the last ever goal at Highbury. They didn't. The last ever goal was scored by one of the referees I was playing with, because we went out and we did a penalty shootout between ourselves. It wasn't me, because I missed my penalty. The other referee did. So I sort of... so little things
I love
like
that. Oh my God, that's absolutely priceless. Brilliant stories, and thanks for sharing. I think it was, thanks Magic, Alan claimed that he, our good friend of the show, Alan Alger, I think claimed it. Yeah. I definitely wasn't me. I got to take, after a Liverpool Arsenal game at Anfield, I was friends with one of Arsene Wenger's assistants at the time, and I got to take a corner from the clock end in my boots, mind you, Kev, in my heels. And let me tell you, there wasn't one standing there, but I passed the first defender. That's all I can say.
Well, that's good.
That's more than most.
But brilliant stuff, and you should be proud of this. It's incredible. What an achievement, and thanks for sharing those wonderful stories with us. Like, brilliant stuff, Costa. I've got some of Rich's pictures that he wanted to share with us as well. Let me find some up here, Rich, and you could just talk us through some of them. I'm just going to whiz through them. I know some of your favorites, and a little bit more modern here. We've got you with by the way, you look like Kenny Dalglish there, mate. Has anyone told you? Holy cow.
Really?
You know what, I'm looking, I'm thinking, is that Kenny D? What's going on?
That is so Kenny Dalglish. You've got a signed, okay, tell us about this signed shirt, iconic shirt, Rich.
This was a gift from a very good friend of mine who lives in the States. It was just a birthday gift that I didn't know nothing about it. She just sent it over to me, and like I was like, wow. I was just like, you know what I mean? Just blew me away. Fantastic shirt. It was actually in a kind of in a box, but I put it on a frame because it was easier easier to carry. Like, you know, at that time, because I was in the States. I was living in the States. That's the story behind that. It's all the 71 team basically on that.
And this one is of course the iconic.
That's all the Invincible team on that.
Perfect. Here's Kenny Dalglish with Bobby Perez, Kev.
Yeah. Nice photos, Rich. Nice.
Kev, obviously, this one, Kev, you remember this one, right?
No, I've forgotten it, Rich. Come on, tell me.
This one was I was living in the States at the time. I was living in South Carolina. I actually watched this game in a friend of mine. It was very, very difficult at that time. It was '94 to watch games, English games like on the box. But a friend of mine who happens to be Greek, Yanni, had a restaurant, and he had a big satellite dish, and he picked it up on his dish, and we watched the game in his restaurant on that night. But this one, on that picture, my brother picked that T-shirt. Smudge was doing some kind of sponsorship. I think it might have been in Wood Green Shopping City or something. He was doing some promotion or something, and he had, I believe it was 100 T-shirts signed, and my brother picked up one of those shirts, and held it for me until I came over, and again I got it framed and all that. So you see his signature on the side there, right?
Yeah.
Wondering, Kev, if you ever bump into Smudge, ask him about. Did he do a promotional signing thing after that in Wood Green or somewhere and how many T-shirts are actually did he sign? I believe it was only 100. So maybe
that sounds like Arsenal, to be honest.
Yeah, totally. Southgate, Wood Green.
That sounds like something. Yeah.
The Winners Club.
Yeah.
All of it.
I wonder how many of those are left still around. We've still got one.
There won't be many.
What about this guy, hey?
Well, this was like Costa. This was in 2003. This was there's a company called Football Aid, and they used to do these charity games where you could play. You could bid for a place on the team, and you get to sit in the changing room and come out and play a proper game, So that was 2003. We drew 1-1, and that's Kenny Sampson presenting me with the match ball as being voted man of the match.
Nice one.
Not bad for a 46-year-old.
Not bad.
No, brilliant.
Can I just say that
were you refereeing in that game? That's not you. Wait,
that referee is Michael Messi Jr. and he's a Spurs season ticket holder. That's Michael Messi Jr. I know him.
Right.
Wow.
All right.
So yeah.
Well,
listen, guys, if you're not hitting the like button for all of this, I don't know what to say tonight.
Wrong. If you're not hitting the like, something's wrong.
Kev. I mean, it's just brilliant stuff. We move a little forward. Go on, Kev. Go on.
Just to add to that, that was we drew 1-1, and I was one of the few people that have actually scored. I scored the penalty because I got fouled, and we arranged before we went out that if there was any penalties and you got fouled, you had to take the penalty. You know what I mean?
Which end was it,
I actually got fouled. What's that?
Which end? Block end?
North Bank.
North Bank.
In the North Bank.
Love it.
Yeah,
Love it.
North Bank with a North Bank with a North Bank. Highbury.
That one was 1-1 in 2003. In 2004, we won 4-2, and I played again, and I scored the penalty again in the North Bank. So nice. I played two goals. Get in there.
Brilliant.
Here you are with the King.
Yeah, with the King. That was at London Colney. I'd obviously, like Costa, I had a very, very good contact. Actually, is Arsen's very, very good friend from back in his Monaco days. And he said to me, his friend, we worked together in the Bahamas when I used to live in the Bahamas. He said to me, listen, if you're ever you ever need a ticket, just let me know. But I never took him up on it, you know what I mean? I never took him up until we got to the Emirates, and I couldn't get a ticket. So I thought, let me just call up my friend. I said, listen, I'm in London for the weekend. Can you sort me out a ticket? He said, yeah, no problem. I'll call up Arsenal and don't worry about it. So, and then I said to him, listen, any chance of me going to the training ground to watch the boys train? So I said, yeah, I'll ask him. So anyway, calls me back, says, there, Arsenal said, no problem. You know, just say that, you know, you've got a personal invite. Now, for those who don't know, trying to get into London Colney is like trying to get into Fort Knox. You cannot get in there. You can't get in there unless you've got a private invite or you've got a letter stating that you should be there. You're not getting in there. So I drive in and they stop me and say, listen, they look at me like Chancellor, like, listen, I've got a personal invite from the boss. They just looked at me, really? I said, yeah, honestly, go on. All right, we'll go and check it out. Comes back 5 minutes later, yeah, sure. Go and park over there, please. Anyway, they were fantastic. Every year I went, I was so privileged and lucky. Every year I went and they looked after me. I got to know them all, like everybody, the door people and everybody. Like, it just went up there, hang about, you know, in the players' lounge, where they do the cafeteria up there. I'll get back to that in a sec. But they were so good, and I was the only one there watching them train. I'll be there. Sometimes I bring my mate, season ticket holder, and we're just there. We're just watching. You know, only ones there watching the boys train. It always used to be on a Friday, Friday before the game. And he sorted me out the best tickets in the play. We sat in the right in the where the directors are, but the next part to the left of them. Like, you know what I mean? It was just, he was great absolutely stuff. What a really nice guy. I mean,
see, this is what I love about some of our players, and like Kev, like, there are some players that really understand what that moment means for that person. You may never meet an Arsenal player ever again. You may never be in that moment ever again. And there are some players, athletes, celebrities that understand that moment may seem like the millionth moment for you, but it's a moment that person is going to carry with them forever and ever and cherish. And I know, like, Kev, when he does it for us Arsenal fans, and we know that, but when he goes to like Merseyside, it's insane, and he gets it, and that's what I love about the certain players that get it versus when you see players coming off the coach, there's kids standing there, they'll just walk through them. That kid will never get that moment again. And I think that's what makes these stories and some of the stuff that you guys are sharing really extra special.
Yeah, the players like they were so friendly. It's the best word for it. I mean, obviously, because I guess they don't see that many people. You know, they might see agents or something, like, you know what I mean? But, you know, I'm there, you know, with my friends sometimes, and they'll come over, say hello, hey, you know, how's it going, what you doing? And, you know, because they obviously know you must be connected. You know what I mean? So
yeah, exactly. So we're running out a bit of time, so I'm gonna jump in here real quick, because you guys have seen it and we've heard it, and there's a lot of people in chat from the 60s to the 70s, the 80s. You know, you were there for some of the best moments, witnessing, you know, this with, you know, we talked about the Cup Winners' Cup. You know, the last time we won a European trophy, Kev was playing. You know, the last time we won the League Cup, Kev was playing. But there were days like the Invincibles, which is incredible. And of course, Anfield 89, one of our best moments in our history. If you look carefully here, you may see a very young Kevin Campbell in a suit and tie celebrating with the team there as he was trying to break through, Kev. I know you can spot yourself.
I'm right there with beside David O'Leary and John Lukic, look.
Sandwich right in the middle, right there. And this is one of my favorite pictures of all time, where you guys are all in the England team, which, you know, will slowly happen again with Saka and Emile Smith-Rowe. And that brings me to, Gosta, I'm going to start with you. Your love for the club, you can tell, you can feel it. As a fellow Greek, I love your story. So proud of you and your achievements too. You know, not only as a Gooner, but also as a fellow Greek Cypriot. Talk to me about how you feel about the Arsenal today. And of course, Newman can't help himself. He wants to know if you're Arteta in or out. But talk to me about it. Talk to us about it a little bit and how you feel about what we are today as a club and where you think we're going.
Here's where I am. I have Sky, BT, all the packages at home, all the sports channels, everything you can possibly have. I've got it at home. I'm incredibly bored of the stick we are continuing to take week after week after week. Okay, and it pees me off even further when it comes from our own supporters. That really grinds my gears. Okay, for me, there's no such thing as Arteta in, Arteta out, Wenger in, Wenger out. I'm 100% behind whoever's in charge of the team at any given moment. Fine, they might not be good enough at the end of the day, but right now, Mikel is Arteta and he gets my 100% support because A, he wants to achieve the same things I want Arsenal to achieve, and B, because we get enough stick from everybody else without doing it to ourselves. We get accused of spot fixing yellow cards or whatever the nonsense was last week, cancelling games when everyone else has done it and we can't do it. We get stick for our red cards. We get all kinds of nonsense. They call me paranoid. I know George Graham had this sort of siege mentality thing that he instilled in the players. That's still in me. I have an incredible siege, and I sense it from Kev as well. I won't take any criticism from anyone, especially from those inside the club. I think it's unnecessary, and we get too much of it from external sources without us coming from internal sources. So I'm 100% behind the manager. I'll judge him at the end of the season. I will not judge him now. I believe there's a process we're trying to go through at the moment. It's very painful. There's lots of growing pains. I know people don't like the word project and that sort of stuff, but we can't go out and spend 100 million quid on Haaland or 150 on Kane. We're going to have to do what we can to, manage it as well as we can for the next few months. I'm trusting the manager completely. Sorry if people don't like it, but that's what I am. I've had too much stick. I hear too much negativity around the club, and I refuse to do it.
Rich, where do you stand?
My thoughts exactly, Costa. I love the club first and foremost. That is it. It doesn't matter who's the manager, the players, across the white lines. I am behind them 100%. Week in, week out, and that's it for me. We're in a difficult place right now, but I think we are moving in the right direction. But for me, I love the club. I love the club, and whoever the manager is, that's it. I follow them. It's my team.
Kev, how do you feel hearing about these guys talk about the club like this?
So, Sophie, I want to ask. I want to ask the.
Hold on, Rich. Hold on.
I want to ask the lads a question because I think maybe because of where they come from, position-wise. For instance, Gosta mentioned a really important one. You remember George Graham? It's recorded. For those who haven't seen it, you can look at it on YouTube, etc., where George Graham is reading the Riot Act. It was after the Battle of Old Trafford. He's reading the Riot Act about the media. Everybody's against playing up north. That siege mentality. You guys have lived that siege mentality. And I think that connected the fans and the team even more so. Maybe you could explain that because some of the fans now won't understand that. They've never had that. Do you know what I mean? So maybe you could explain that, guys.
That chat that George Graham gave, which, like you said, was on YouTube, appeared on an Arsenal video of the championship winning team. And he also said that when you go up north, it's like a goal head start. The fans get right behind the players. And I've lost count of the amount of times I drove up to bloody Sheffield Wednesday and we lost. We couldn't get a result at Sheffield Wednesday. And I always felt that we were a goal down before we started the game because their fans were right up for it. It was the same at South West Ham. I just felt that their fans were spitting blood, before the game. And I thought we need to get a bit more of that, And I think all the successful teams that we've had, it's no coincidence that the supporters were right behind them, absolutely right behind them. And you look at the teams that have won the Premier League in the last 20 years, the supporters and the management and the board and the owner have imagery in the same direction. There's not one dissenting voice within that club. I know it's £1 a year to buy whoever you want, but I sense right now that we still have factions amongst the support. They're not convinced about the manager. They're not convinced about the board. They're not convinced about the owner. And that does not make for a successful team, I'm afraid. It filters down. It drips down. That's just where I stand.
Rich, your thought on Kev's question?
I feel the same way. I'm from old school. It's just getting behind the team, getting behind the manager, getting behind the team. Let's all be together. Believe, keep the faith. That's me. I'm not that eloquent in words, but
you're doing great, Rich. You're doing great.
A passion for the club.
No, you guys are smashing it. Listen, basically, don't listen to Newman and Taib is what they're saying, everyone. Jokes aside, they love their club too. But I love the question from Kev, and I think a little bit has to do with, generational, and there's nothing wrong with it. Like if you were born in an era where all you know is the Wenger years, well, of course, you saw a team go invincible. You saw us win the double twice. You saw us smash the FA Cup year after year after year. If you go a little bit before that, you saw the struggles in the 70s after the double team, the early 80s. Kev, you remember getting abuse back in the day?
Big time. Listen, there was a time, there was a lot of flack. The lads will tell you, there was a lot of flack flying around at Highbury. Highbury was half empty. So it was half empty. Didn't really have a great team. That lot down the road had the team. We didn't. And it was, what are Arsenal going to do? And it was slow. I remember slow hand claps. All of that, Soph. It was terrible at times. But
it wasn't pleasant for a while.
Oh, I hear you. Those years in the 80s, it's tough. Listen, from the double in 71 to when we won it in 89, yes, 18 years we had to wait. That was a long time, and we went through a lot of role in those times.
There were some really, really top class players who were given some stick. I remember Paul Davis was giving a real hard time. Terrible hard time. And Paul Davis is an absolute legend. He's one of the most cultured midfield left footers we've ever had. God, if we had Paul Davis now, it would be a
different
side. I remember going with my season ticket in the East Stand. People were screaming at Lee Dixon. Lee Dixon had a season or two to forget, I admit. But the stick he was getting, this guy's a multiple title winner. He played for England a million times. But people were giving him stick. There was always somebody that will be the brunt of the stick. I can't recall, Kev, you obviously know more than I do, but did you get that as well?
Yeah, of course.
Listen. I don't recall.
Gosta, listen, let me tell you something. For all the good times, football is like a roller coaster at times. And there's times where the team ain't playing well or you're not playing well and people target you. But that's the way you're built. You have to be built to take the stick and come again. That's it. I think that toughness mentally, of course, if you're doing the business, it's great when it's going good. But can you keep fighting and battling when it's not going good? That's the difference. And that is the key. If you could still pick results up when you're not doing so good, that's what a lot of the good teams, Arsenal teams, could do. Not playing great, but we pick results up. And this current team or squad, obviously, got to be added to. but I think they're starting to learn some of those traits.
And Kev, pops for you, just real quick, Gostamel, before you jump back in, is we mentioned David O'Leary before, and I would say we have a couple of really, I say this loosely, but it's true. Ethelston is a Tottenham fan who loves coming in and watching our show, and Glenn Hoddle, Paul Davis, these were players that were so ahead of their time for the style of football that was being played in England. I think Rocky had a little bit of an edge to his game, but imagine Paul Davis right now and David Rocastle, in this Arsenal team. Go on, Gosta. I know you wanted to add to what Kev said there as well.
Yeah, there was a brilliant documentary on Glenn Hoddle called Extra Time. Obviously, a play on the words to do with his health issues. How he didn't play 100 times for England, and this is an Arsenal fan saying that, how he didn't play 100 times for England is beyond me. How Paul Davis didn't get into an England team which was pretty awful in the 80s, right? In the mid, just beggars belief. But the point I was going to make was, I've been on this list on HIGHBURY Squad for 8 or 10 months or whatever it is now. I can't remember. The most accurate thing anybody has ever said was what Kev said a few months ago. Football is cyclical. It goes in cycles. I know that from 50 years. There'll be a period where Arsenal are fantastic. There'll be a period when it's United's turn. Spurs will have their 2 or 3 years every generation, and we seem to be going through that at the moment. Our time will come again. It will definitely come again. It's cyclical. We're too big a club for that not to happen again. I'm hoping it's not going to be another 5 or 10 years away. I'm hoping it's going to be 2 or 3, but our time will come. I have Liverpool supporting mates who are worried. Klopp's only got a year and a half or 2 years left on his contract. Where do you go from there? Where do Man City go from Pep? Even Spurs, where do they go from their manager? Because they're not getting a better one. The time will come when these clubs are going to go through what we're going through right now. There'll be a transitional period.
They're going to have to rebuild.
And therein we step in, and hopefully we'll be in a position to take over. So, I do believe football is cyclical.
Excellent stuff. Rich,
can I ask you this as well? Let me ask Rich and Gosta this. In 1991 or 1990, sorry, if I said to you Liverpool wouldn't win the title for 30 years, would you put me in a straitjacket, or would you put me in the funny farm?
Yeah,
both.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
both.
Deluded.
And that was
deluded.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that was with
deluded.
That was with
deluded, right? But
definitely
you would never say it would take Liverpool 30 years to win a title.
No, it's true.
No,
they had Steven Gerrard and Robbie Fowler and all these world-class players, and
Suarez,
they never got
Torres.
near the day.
Yeah. It really it's life is cyclical, and we see it in all sports, in American sports, in our league, and a lot of the times we model ourselves on Liverpool. Everyone looks to, like, when was the first time Klopp finished top 4? When was the first time? Some Liverpool fans wanted him gone when they lost to, was it Unai in the Europa League? That was the semi-final, I believe, that year. I do think, Kev, that, football's moving quicker, faster, hotter, and instant gratification, social media, all of it has added fuel to the flames, which makes it harder for people to have that patience, right? Some people would say, okay, we've been patient for 17 years. You give the example of Liverpool 30 years. I think what Arsenal fans want, true Arsenal fans, is, can we just be competitive in the league again? Can we have consistency? And then from there, you kind of go for it. I'm going to get everyone out on this. I can't believe we've been talking for 1 hour and 4 minutes. It feels like 20 minutes. We could go on and on and on, but we'll definitely do a part 2 with these guys, Kev. It's been a beautiful chat tonight about our wonderful club.
Been great.
Let's get them out on this, Kev. What do you think? Where do we finish? How does this end up? And don't panic, everyone. Everyone's been putting in chat. Bruno has gone to apparently they've reached an agreement with Lyon. Don't panic yet. Don't panic. Arteta is here in the Grand United States. He was at the hockey the other night with Big Stan. Hopefully they're going to make some magic happen. There's still time. But Rich, I'll start with you first, and then Gosta. how does the season end for the Arsenal? Do we finish in a European spot? What's your take?
I'm going for 5th spot.
All right, nice and short and sweet from Rich. We like it.
I don't think we'll get top 4 unless we get some quality in to bring us through to the end of the season. You know, we've only got a few days, 7 days to do it. But if we don't get a quality midfielders in and a striker, we can. I think the best is 6th. The best, 5th or 6th. That's it for me.
Costa, what do you think?
Yeah, 5th or 6th for me too. Would love 4th, but 5th or 6th. But it would be really helpful if we stop shooting ourselves in the foot and playing every game with 10 men. That would be really handy. And also, I'm not a fan of our club captain at the moment, but if we could try and build a bridge, because I don't think we're going to get a forward in. If we can try and build a bridge, let's do that as well. A few goals and everything will be forgiven.
This is true. Kev's been talking about it this whole time. We've been banging on about a midfielder, but my goodness, a striker. And we talked about it on the show last night when the goals have kind of dried up now from Saka and Emil Smith-Rowe, Martinelli and Odegaard. You need a prolific striker. If you're going to be a top 4 team, you've got to have someone banging in the goals. This has been an absolutely epic chat. There's going to be lots of time to talk about transfers, you guys, because there's still time in the window. Just know that the Highbury squad are going to be here to keep you company between now and the 10th of February. There's a long way to go. And always remember, there's more to football than just instant reactions, player ratings, tactics, and post-game shows. There's so much for us to talk about, and tonight is a phenomenal example of that. Tomorrow night on the show, we're going to have a premiere. It's episode 2 of Get Off the Potsy, hosted by Dan Potts. His special guest tomorrow is Lee Judges. That was recorded this morning, and they're going to be sharing their favorite ever Arsenal goals. And trust me, it is a lot of fun, and you guys will enjoy it. So there'll be a lot more shows like that coming up between now and the 10th of February. I'll be in chat to hang out with you guys tomorrow night, so look forward to that. You can share your favorite Arsenal goals with us. Kev and I will be bringing you episode 2 of the debate in the next week or so. So look out for that. And the subject of it is the Cronkies. I put out a very interesting tweet, which got very interesting responses. So Kev and I will be digging into that as well. We'll also have Stateside Squad, another episode of Arsenal Women. And Arsenal may be going to Dubai, but we're going to be here. Tomorrow morning, I'll be on Sky Sports early kickoff at 7:30 for a good half hour, talking a little bit about Arteta being in the US, our transfers, and a whole bunch of other stuff in football. And Super Kev, it's over to you. Let us know how you feel about this show and wrap it up for us. I've enjoyed it and I've loved it. Thank you, Gostamo. Why don't you say Mavropanos and Sokratis Babastadopoulos to see if you can actually compete with the pronunciation here, because a couple of people have asked me for you to say that out loud. Go on.
First of all, you speak proper Greek. I speak this village Cypriot. Yeah, I speak the sort of shepherd Greek. So, but Mavropanos, Sokratis, who's the other one?
Well, you said it, Babastadopoulos. You got to say the last name. That's the hardest. Bravo, bravo, bravo. Excellent stuff. And right now, Rich is living in Turkey, and Gosta, you're still in Palmer's Green. Is that right? Sorry, Kev.
I'm in Palmer's Green, and I think me and Rich are one day going to meet up in the Alfred Herring.
Oh, I love it.
Which is anybody wants to join us at the Alfred Herring in Palmer's Green?
I was there in London in November, but I think you were unavailable.
I had COVID, I'm afraid. So all better now. When you're next back.
Well, that makes me feel even better, Soph, that the guys are going to link up. What great memories. Do you know what? And I'll say this to a lot of the squaddies. Sometimes all we've got is memories at the end of the day. And Rich is right. Some of the memories you don't even remember properly. You just remember little slivers of information and you try and piece it together. But what a lovely show. I mean, I don't know where the time's gone, Soph. Honestly,
I know.
But Listen, we have to have a part 2 with you, Rich. Have to have a part 2 with you, Costa. I think that's absolutely brilliant.
I love it.
Sophie, hostess with the mostest, as always, putting these shows together. Always nice to go on a trip down memory lane. Listen, I'm off to the funny farm, squaddies, as you could imagine. So all I could say to you is enjoy your evening, your day, enjoy each other, and you know what, squaddies? At ease, squaddies.
It's coming. It's coming. Here it is. Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.